What is going on, Bantees? Welcome back to Base Hits and Banter. I am one of your co-hosts, Haley McClinney, joined by my softball fellow Bantee,
Sam Fisher, that's me. I'm the fellow Bantee.
Sam Fisher. Go Lions.
That's right, baby.
Great week of softball that we just had. Fun
Yeah.
upsets, great series. Conference play got started. I think the biggest thing that probably stood out to us was the fighting Nadia Taylors
My
upsetting Texas.
listen, that number one, Nadia Taylor, if you're listening out there, I just love you.
Love you so much.
That has
We gotta
nothing to
we
do with
gotta get her on. We gotta
I
get
know,
her
and
on.
that has nothing to do with wins or losses, but I know that she's out there telling those players that it's time to eat, and they went and they beat Texas 12-10. They
12
scored
to 10.
12 runs
They
on
were
the number one ranked team as of
they
last week.
they were hungry. Yeah, as of last week. We are expecting Texas to drop out of that top spot. I
Yeah.
mean, much to OU's probably favor. I would imagine OU would be number one again, but LSU is
I,
the only undefeated team in college softball right now. So does LSU
Todd,
make that jump up?
yeah, and they swept Kentucky this weekend. So that's, Kentucky's not a walk in the park kind of team.
No.
So, yeah, what a weekend of softball. Definitely stood out the Houston beating Texas. Super exciting win for them. Um, and I mean, what a fight though from both teams. 12-10. You don't know who's winning that game when you're playing
It,
it.
what I can confirm to you is they definitely didn't hit the 2 hour window
They
for
sure
the
did.
broadcast.
That thing was like, okay, are we watching baseball here? Because it's getting past 3 hours.
Yeah, seriously. I will say though, I like an offensive game. 12 to
For
10 is a
sure.
little excessive for me, but
Yeah.
I do like an offensive game. Like you want to see back and forth, both teams scoring. And there was a point in watching that game where I was about to turn off the TV because I was like, okay, like not to say I didn't have faith that Houston wouldn't come back, but Texas finally started to get going, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna peek over, and then I peeked back over, and it's like, oh, this is actually like really back and
Oops.
forth, and
Yeah.
like big shout out to the Cougs, like super
Yeah.
resilient, really
Yeah.
fun to watch. I know Oklahoma was very pleased that Texas dropped a game after
Yeah.
OU dropped a game.
Yeah.
So that's man, I don't know when that Red River rivalry is gonna happen. But I we gotta go to
It's
that series, I think.
I
That's
mean,
gonna be
no
so good.
no doubt about it.
That's gonna
I
be so
think
good.
everybody in the country is looking forward to that more than your traditional rivalries of the past, like your
Yeah.
UCLA Arizona rivalries or things like
Yes.
that. I think everybody's really looking forward to Oklahoma playing Texas, but I'm really sorry, but I would love to bring up the Crimson Tide.
Ugh. It hurt.
I mean,
It hurt.
yeah, their first loss of the season and then losing twice to Florida. Do you think, Haley McClenny, do you think that this says more about Florida or more about where Alabama is? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of both. So
Yeah.
I think Alabama's offense is still trying to find their identity a little bit. And I think
Hmm.
what I was most intrigued to watch coming into the series was the young arms of Florida. And this
Yes.
this Keegan Rothrock
My
kid,
goodness.
can she sling the rock? I
That
mean,
what a
it's
pitcher's name, number one.
first, yeah, come
Just
on.
born
Like
to be a
perfectly.
pitcher. Yep.
She was born ready.
Yep.
She I'm gonna read off some stats of hers that I think are like beyond impressive.
Please
She's
do.
like a true freshman
True
and is
freshman.
clearly the ace of the staff already.
Hmm.
0.74 ERA, 8 earned runs in 75 and a third innings,
Insane.
82 strikeouts in 75 innings,
Yeah.
82 strikeouts to 19 walks. Opponents
Wow.
are batting 114
Those are
against them.
numbers, man.
So for you to play your preseason, establish yourself as the ace of the staff, to come in on the road, your first SEC start, and
Hmm.
you have to go to Tuscaloosa,
That's
one of
tough.
one of the most difficult places to play on the road, and for you to shut it down like that on Saturday,
Yeah.
they run ruled Alabama on Sunday. I didn't have a great day
Yeah.
Sunday. Okay, Sunday was a tough day
Nope.
for me. You get
Yep.
run ruled, and then Alabama comes back and fights really hard Monday night to take that last game, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And
They needed it.
Kayla Beaver, I don't know if people are talking about her like a lot, but
Yeah.
coming over from Central Arkansas, I think she's established herself as the ace.
Yes.
And much not what we saw in the Texas and Houston series with all the offense and all the bats. We saw
Yeah.
pitchers duels. And
Hmm.
Kayla Beaver, in her own right, only has a .45 ERA,
That's
and
huge.
she's only given up 4 earned runs in 62 innings on
That's
this.
that's huge, especially in a pitcher spot. You see players transfer from, a small school to a big school or a
Mhm.
lesser known program to a huge program. And you wonder how it transfers. You think, oh, well, they were good because they were at this smaller school. Those numbers are for a previously undefeated Alabama team, it's really impressive.
It's tough. It,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Have you ever been on a win streak like that? Like, where did you ever have a win streak in college and have it broken? Like, I'm wondering if the pressure's off.
Yeah, I feel that's how I would feel. Like
Yeah.
if I was undefeated heading into conference play or, even through like LSU, for example, through a series have already
Hmm.
swept. I think, and I think this goes back to even Oklahoma's win streak as well of 71. Like
Hmm.
I you're gonna lose. Like part of the game is losing. Like you
100%.
realistically, like this isn't basketball or like any other sport where you like realistically can go undefeated if you're just
Yeah.
that much better than teams. Softball is one of those games where you have to have really good pitching, really good defense. You have to get timely hits. Things kind of have to
Hmm.
fall your way for you to win games, and that's not always within your control.
Totally.
But when you lose, I do think that there is like a huge weight kind of just
Yeah.
lifted off.
Yeah.
Um, and you can play a little bit more free
Yeah.
because you're trying to keep up a streak or whatever. You can focus on what's right in front of you. And that's the message that the coaches are giving them. Like, don't worry about the streak. Who cares if you're
Yeah.
undefeated? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody cares. They care.
Right.
You don't want to lose.
Right.
And it's hard not to
No,
think about
never.
it. But that's the message
Yeah.
is like to stay as present as you possibly can. But when you do drop that game, I do think it's just like, okay, we lost.
Okay.
Now we can
Yeah.
absolutely get back and ready to absolutely crush.
Yeah, and it says a lot. They won the last game. Like
Yes. Super
they
resilient.
finish on a win. And I want to ask about the other counterpart in your household,
Mm.
the old Seminoles.
Oh
Should we
man.
be worried about them? They had a loss last week to Jacksonville. They lost this week to FGCU.
Yeah.
So should we be worried, or should we just be like, well, they're gonna be okay?
I think we should be concerned. And
Okay.
I say that only because it doesn't seem like a lot of adjustments have been made outside looking in. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's their offense that's the problem. I think they can swing it with
Yeah, I
anybody.
agree.
I think right now they're trying to solidify what their staff is. And so
Yeah,
like Lonnie Alameda is one of, if not the best coaches in the country. I
she's
have no
fantastic.
doubt. I have no doubt that she's going to be able to figure it out. So I would say a little concerned, but let's sprinkle some patience in there because we haven't even
Mm,
started conference play yet,
right, right, right.
right? Like Florida State has owned the ACC the past
Yeah,
few years. I do think it's going to be a little bit more intriguing this year because there are some teams that are really stepping it up. Duke looks absolutely
yeah.
amazing, and that's who they open up ACC
That's
play with this
yes.
weekend. So Clemson's always going to be strong, but give them time. Like
Yeah.
it's an experienced staff. They've got a few veterans that are on that staff that are
Hmm.
just they just need to find their rhythm, find their groove, and I think they'll be okay. And listen, Florida State has always been that team.
Yeah, that's true.
They play better when the lights are on and the lights are brighter.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't discount them. Will they host a regional? At this point, I don't know. Like that's
yeah,
scary and weird to say. But
yeah.
are you telling me if you're hosting a regional for the first time in a few years and Florida State gets sent that you're not
Uh-oh.
concerned? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no,
Like
you're so right.
they're gonna be a tough out. They always are.
You're so right.
So, but I would like to give a shout out to another ACC team
Please,
that happens to be 6-0 in conference
please.
play, and they happen to lead major conferences in home runs with 48 home runs so far on the year. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets
They are putting the ball, they're sending the ball out of the park. They're
are
saying
hitting absolute nukes, and they are 6-0 in ACC play. They swept Pitt. They just swept NC State. They've got a big game coming up Wednesday night, March
hmm
13th in Athens to face the Georgia Bulldogs. But talk about like Florida State has been at the top of the ACC the past few
Yeah,
years, right? And Clemson, Duke, obviously getting some love, but don't forget about those Yellow Jackets.
Yeah. And I love that. I love looking at the ACC, and before it was obvious of, okay, yeah, no, Florida State's coming out of there on
Right.
top.
That's it.
It has become less and less obvious, and that's not to take anything away from Florida State. It's to add to the teams and their growth
Yes.
in that conference. I mean, Duke has been a program for like 15 minutes, and
Yes.
you know what I mean?
They're microwaved.
It's,
Seriously.
forget bacon. We're not putting that in the oven. We are
No.
popping that in the
They're
microwave,
microwaves.
zapping them,
They're
and
so
here
young.
they're ready. We don't even need to let them cool before eating.
Right.
That's a
Fresh.
great. That was great.
Very
But yeah, and like you said, Duke and Florida State play this weekend, so that's a big one looking ahead.
Mhm.
What else we have looking forward to this weekend, Halo?
We got Duke and Florida State. We have Tennessee and Missouri this weekend. I think
I'm
is going to be
interested
a
to see.
very
That's going to be
very
a good one.
interesting series. A
Hmm.
little inconsistencies I think on both teams' parts this year.
Yeah.
But
Also, speaking of Tennessee, they just went to DC. They played at Howard. I saw a lot of posting like Tori Tyson. I love that. I love that they went out there. Tori
so
Tyson's doing
amazing.
so many great things with Howard, and I'm excited to see just how, how that program continues to grow and
Yeah,
thrive under her leadership. But yeah, I saw they went there to DC
that's so great.
this past
That
weekend, so that was cool.
That's awesome. It's a
Yeah.
really cool thing to see HBCU softball kind of
Yeah.
take life these past few years.
Yes.
And Tori has done such a good job of putting HBCUs at the forefront.
Yeah.
Of a lot of softball. I coached at Florida A&M for a few years,
Yeah.
and that was one of the coolest experiences of my softball just career, like being able to
Yeah.
be around those kids and being around programs like that.
Yeah.
So for them to get some love from Tennessee and
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, Tori's doing like absolutely amazing things over here. And I would actually love if we devoted time at some future episode to take a deep dive on HBCU softball and
Say less.
give it the respect that it deserves. So shout out to the
Say less.
Howard Bison.
Yes.
Um
Sorry,
but
continue.
no, this is great. Tennessee and Missouri gonna be a great one. We've
Yeah.
got not in football,
Not
but
in
in
football.
softball. We've got the Alabama Crimson Tide and Georgia Bulldogs facing off this weekend.
That, whew.
That'll I am intrigued. Like I want to see the response after getting
Yeah.
some adversity from the Tide this weekend. I want to see the response.
Yeah.
Georgia's can swing it, they can throw it. They're a really,
Yep.
really good team.
It's gonna be
So
a good
intrigued.
test for
Very
both teams.
intrigued.
Yeah.
Tough week for Alabama softball. 3-game series against Florida, midweek in Tallahassee against Florida State on Wednesday, traveling
Woof.
to Athens for a 3-game set against Georgia. So we're gonna find a lot out about the Tide
Big
this
week.
week. And then a conference we haven't really mentioned much about this episode, but Washington and Arizona in the pack
The old
playing
pack.
this
Oh,
weekend. Arizona State took a game from Washington this weekend,
I did
so
see that, which is huge for ASU because they're
very big.
still finding their footing. Um, but yeah, Arizona has stepped their game up from last year. So I think that'll be a good test for both teams. Like Washington shouldn't have dropped a game to ASU, and they did. So seeing what their response is in the same way we're talking about Alabama, I'm curious to see how that one goes.
Yes, likewise. Well, that should about wrap it up for
Yep.
the top 25. Any final thoughts before we move into our
Listen, I'm about to go out. The Oregon State is coming to ASU this weekend. I'm about to go
okay?
see my idol, Laura Berg, out there
Shout
coaching the
out Bergie.
Beavs, only 4-time Olympian in our sport. I mean, I don't think she realizes how cool she is, but I can, first of all, first thing I do when I see her, hey, Laura Berg, want to be on our podcast?
Yes.
I don't take no for an answer, number one.
You got to
Um,
take your mini mic out there and just get
yes, I
some
do.
thoughts. Just get some thoughts from
100%. Laura Berg, tell
Bergie.
me, what do you eat for breakfast?
Yeah, that's it. That's what
uh,
we need to know. How did
yeah.
how did you become a 4-time Olympian?
Mini Mike.
Mini
Yeah,
mic.
I
That's it.
can't wait to see her. She's an icon and just like a good person. So
Great.
that's all I had to add. Got to give a little Bergie shout out.
We love Bergie.
Yes, we do.
Big friend of the program.
Yes.
Well,
So you want to
yeah,
run by the Bantees the title that was discussed in
e-
the household over there?
I would. So, K Dog of Florida Florida K-Dog, not to be confused with Arizona K-Dog, suggested the Banty balance,
I'm obsessed
which
with it. Yeah,
balance of the Bantees, the Banty balance.
I'm all
Big
in.
fan. I'm a big fan of it. And really it's just to make sure that you guys know out there that like softball is fun, but it is just a game and we're just taking care of, our mental well-being, providing a little balance into the lives of our Bantees. So
Yeah,
if the people love it, we'll roll with it.
it's stuck. It's in
I love it. I
the
really,
Banty
really do.
balance.
So the Banty balance and shout out as always to K Dog. Um
K-Dog of the East Coast.
K Dog of East Coast K Dog. But today, one of the things that we wanted to discuss was pressure and expectations that are placed on athletes from either parents or coaches and kind of how to deal with the pressure of
Yeah,
kind of a constricting environment in that way.
yeah,
I would love to get your thoughts on this,
I'm here for
Sammy,
it.
because I always feel like you come up big in pressure situations and you do a great job of playing free. So
Thanks, Doug.
I'd love to get this Banty's idea on balancing the pressure
Listen,
of
there
softball.
is a lot. This is a hot topic, is coping with pressure, like the competitive environment. And I think for me personally, I can remember at some point, it was early in my college life, was shifting the focus of, if I came up with the bases loaded. I think that's a really good example for me personally as a hitter, is coming up
Mhm.
with the bases loaded. And all of a sudden it's like, you've never needed to get a hit more than you've needed to get a hit right now because the bases are juiced. Like, look how many runs there are on the table.
Mhm.
And flipping the switch of, oh my God, the bases are loaded, to the bases are loaded. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just a simple switch in, yeah, there's pressure, but truly, what what is pressure? What does it
Right.
mean? What is it if not you wanting to win, you
Right.
wanting to do the thing, you wanting to be the one in the box with the bases loaded, or you on the mound with the ball in your hand in the bottom of the seventh and, shutting the door. I think that for me personally, just, man, I'm excited for the opportunity.
Yes.
I want to be in there in those moments, because if I'm not betting on myself, who's gonna, you know?
Yes.
So put the bat in my hands, or have me on the field when the game is tight and we can't let anything get through the infield. Like, and if
Period.
yeah, and if here's the thing, if I'm in the box, this will never happen because we never bat back to back. But if I'm in the box,
That's a goal for AU this year.
let's go. Let's put Sam and Halo back to back.
That's a goal.
Um, and if I don't come through in that pressure situation, I know, number one, it doesn't mean that I couldn't.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean I didn't think that I could when I was in the box. But then I'm gonna
Hmm.
look at you on deck and be like, I know you're gonna do it.
Right. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of factors to it, of the pressure and recognizing pressure that you put on yourself,
Hmm.
of, that, because we do that. Oh my God, we do
We
that.
do. We do.
So recognizing the pressure of the game, of like, this is a big moment and I could come through here big for my team. That's pressure. That's the pressure of being a competitor and of being
Right.
at a big stage. But then the pressure that you add to yourself of, if I don't come through right now, I'm not starting tomorrow, or my parents are gonna hate me.
Yeah. Come on.
That's different. That kind of pressure is, I think, a different conversation than just the pressure of being a competitor. So
Totally.
please add your
I
sparkles.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think like we put ourselves in so many tough situations mentally that
Mhm,
are often not, I don't want to say not reality, but I just think we overblow things in our own mind. And I think pressure is
mhm.
one of those things that, and I don't like the terminology pressure is a privilege.
I don't either,
I
dog.
don't like it. I don't like it at
Yeah.
all. But it is an opportunity. And I
Yes.
think if we can flip the script on, oh, I've got to get it done. I've got to get it done. Like, no, I get to have this at bat. I get to come through for my team. Even if I don't, I trust the person that's behind me to get it done, to get us a win. And guess what? Even if we don't, guess what? The sun's still going to come up tomorrow. We're going to
Yeah.
be okay. We're going to learn from it. We're going to grow from it. We're going to continue to evolve as players, as athletes, as human beings. And one of
Yes.
the things that's helped me deal with pressure in big time moments, is I think when we like pressure feels constrictive, right? And so when we think about it, it's like, oh, well, what if I don't like, what if I fail?
Yeah.
But flipping it to be like, what's it going to feel like when I come up clutch in this moment? What's it
Uh,
going to feel like when I get that bases loaded double? What's it going to feel like when I hit that 3-run home run, go ahead in the bottom of the seventh? Like, what's it going to feel like when I hit the walk off? What's it going to feel like when I get the big strikeout? And the brain, like the body wants to replicate what the brain wants to happen. So if you're telling yourself all of these amazing things that you're about to do, like the body's going to want to do it. And you would be
mm-hmm.
surprised. Like there have been literal moments in my career where I have stepped into the box with that mentality of like, this is gonna feel so good when I smoke this ball into the right center gap. And I get on second and I look at the dugout and I celebrate with my teammates. It's gonna feel so freaking amazing. And then it
And
happens.
then you do it.
And then you do it.
Yes.
It's awesome. And so like you just have to flip that script. Like
Yeah.
pressure is not a bad thing. It's an opportunity. And even if you fail, you're still gonna learn something from
Yeah.
it. Like don't
Uh,
overblow it.
yeah. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill.
Period.
Listen, the there's a quote, and I hope I don't butcher it, but what you just said, and I've loved this quote. I don't know if it's from a book or just someone who just said it one day in history, and it was like, "What if I fall? But wait, like, what if I fly?"
Yes.
You
That
know
is a
what I
quote.
mean?
You didn't
Yeah,
butcher it.
it's something
Who
like that
said
where
that?
it's I don't know. Someone did. It wasn't me. I'm just repeating it.
A Banty needs to let us know
Yeah, but
who say it, who said
it's
it.
like exactly what you said. It's like what? Oh man, like if I don't come through, it's like no, but what if you do?
What if you do?
Go
What if you
do.
do?
Yeah. Just
Amazing.
I think it's like you said, pressure is a privilege is a really interesting statement to me. I think it in order for it to be something that I jam with, it has to be broken down further than just pressure is a privilege. Like you said, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I do believe it's a privilege for us to be playing this game the way that we are right
Mhm.
now, but breaking it down further. And I think that there's layers, right?
Totally.
And you just it comes down to that belief in yourself.
Period.
And I feel like people sometimes are afraid to believe in themselves. They don't want to feel selfish. They don't want to feel cocky. I can remember
Yeah.
being nervous to say that I was a good softball player because I didn't want to come off as arrogant or cocky or whatever. But I'm like, no, dog, I believe that as much as I believe that I'm wearing a bun on my head. Like,
And in fact, you are wearing a bun on top of your
no,
head.
100%. And this bun is bunning today. It's like
That's a good
almost
one.
busting out of the screen.
It's a good one. It's a great one.
So,
Shameless plug to watch our podcast live on
yeah, no,
YouTube.
watch it, you guys. We
Yeah,
look good.
we look phenomenal. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. And I think this is an issue with female athletes especially is not wanting to come across as cocky or arrogant,
Yeah.
but we also
Mhm.
don't want to come across as not confident in ourselves either.
You've
You know,
just have you seen the Barbie movie?
go watch the Barbie movie.
Tell me why Halo and I saw that movie sitting next to each other eating McDonald's. Oh no, that
It's
was Oppenheimer, but we did still go to Barbie together.
we did still go to Barbie. Yeah, we did.
Where we're sitting there and we're like, it's impossible to be a lady. I think that should be a conversation for another mental health topic that we
Absolutely.
maybe have 45 minutes to spend on. But
Absolutely.
you're right, finding that balance of like, you know what? No, I am an amazing athlete and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do my thing on the field. Boom, done.
Yes. Thousand
And
percent.
then you come through in the pressure situations. Boom.
Yeah. Do your thing. Be
Do
confident.
do your thing.
Do
Bun
your
your
thing.
bun.
Do your thing and be confident. Absolutely
So
amazing. So
great
that's the
topic.
that's the that's the Bantee balance
That's the
for
BFT
the
belt.
day. For the day. Sam, do you want to give a people an update on what's happening in the HPP and
I'd
the
love
Team
to.
USA
I
national
would love to.
news?
Honestly, I'm happy you asked because I'm wearing my softball capital of
Big
the
shout
world,
out. Big
USA
shout out.
softball sweatshirt. Thank you, USA softball store. So the HPP, the next event is April 7th in Marietta, Georgia. So that's coming up quick, you guys. It is as of our recording, it is March 12th. That's crazy.
That is
So
wild.
coming up quick. You can check out the information for dates, locations for all of the regions and everything at hpp.usasoftball.com. It's all there. It's a whole little section. It's so cute. For Team USA updates, USA Softball and the Oklahoma Spark announced that they will have exhibition games June 29th and 30th in Oklahoma City. Team USA will have 3 camps going on at that time with the U18 team, the women's national team, and the elite team. So it sounds like a lot is going down at that time in Oklahoma City, the softball capital of the world, if I haven't mentioned that yet.
Correct.
Now, the men's national team program, they have a camp coming up June 7th to 9th in Oklahoma City, right before those dates with the women's national team in those camps. So they're going to play that weekend. They're going to play inter squad scrimmages, get together as a team, and more information is going to come out about both of those camps. So we'll share those dates when we get them and keep everybody posted on that. So you can go out and watch some really good softball from the girls and the boys.
Freaking go. It's gonna
Let's
be
go.
fun. As Sam is supporting the Softball Capital of the World hoodie, we want to thank USASoftballstore.com for this gear this week. Right now, you can use the code BHB15 and get 15% off of your entire purchase. So head to USASoftballstore.com and get matching hoodies with your favorite hosts of Base Hits and Banter.
Please.
Amazing. Thank you guys.
Outstanding.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoy this interview with one of our dear friends talking all things life and softball.
Yeah.
Check this out, give it a listen, and learn some stuff.
Yeah, stay tuned. Thanks, folks. Bye, Banties.
At Higginbotham, we put people first. Our specialists are here to serve you, the people you care about, and your success. Insurance, HR, and financial services. Inspired by you.
Welcome back, Bantees. You guys, we've got a great guest for you. I want to make sure that we give her the proper introduction because, I mean, she's just so great. So I'm going to keep it together. I'm going to try to be so cool in this intro. And I'm going to just introduce you guys to our friend, Aubree Munro. Aubree, do you want to say anything before I tell the people about you?
So I like binged. No, I know, because I binged the other ones, and I told you got like super nostalgic about our friends, but I think I will be the least professional out of all of our friends. I'm already off to a bad start.
That's what we want. That's exactly what we want.
No, 100%. We're vibing. That's the thing.
All the vibes.
So, Aubree Munro, super professional. Here we go. She is a 2-time Natty champ with the old Florida Gators down there in Gainesville. Played with Team USA from 2016 to 2021, where she was a 2-time world champion, a Pan American gold medalist, and an Olympic silver medalist. So, like, that just one category section right there. A lot of great things. And she's the queen behind the plate. I'm sure any catching coach across the country is showing kids your videos on how to do that thing behind the plate. So, ladies and gentlemen, Aubree, the queen of the dish, Aubree Munro.
That's a new one. I like
Welcome,
that title
Aubree.
very much, actually. So thank you.
Yeah.
Super
I didn't
stoked.
even write
Queen
it
of
down.
the dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
organic.
obsessed. I'm obsessed.
I wish I had that when I was still playing. That would have been
Dang it.
gold.
Oh man, I'm gonna wear that one. I should have thought of it sooner. Aubree, tell us, first of all, before we talk about your amazing career as a softball player, tell us what you're up to now.
Well, you guys know I retired from playing in 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I haven't really looked back. It's been kind of great. I had been part-time at my church through 2020 and all of 2021. They had been really supportive. So I'd kind of seen what glimpses of what life after softball could look like. So it wasn't as scary, which was the best thing I could have asked for, because to that point, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing after softball.
Seriously.
I know I can do things, but I don't know what they are. So that was a gift in that season. And then I went full time. So I'm at my church now. I'm the student director. So I hang out with teenagers all the time.
Whew.
And it's
Good for you.
It's good. It's good most of the time. Sometimes they drive me crazy, but it's been fun. And then I do like camps and stuff like that, a couple lessons, but I have not been full-fledged in the softball community.
Man.
Wow.
I know, it's wild.
I mean, you have taken on a new role in the softball community, but Halo did call dibs on
She
bringing
called
this part
dibs.
up.
I called dibs because I want to ask you about your sisters and what it's like to watch them play. Obviously, you have like so many accolades and you had an amazing career, and we were thankful to witness that. But watching you watch your sisters has been one of the great joys of this softball season for me. So can you just talk
Yeah.
about them and your family and everybody?
Dude.
Like, go Seattle U.
Yeah, go Seattle U. Dude, I'm so like my older sister, she's 3 years older than me, and she was the super fan. And I always was kind of like, all right, cool. Like, thanks for being so invested. Like, I didn't know if it was because, like, we went to the World Series, we did all like we had success. And I'm like, nope, had nothing to do with that. It's just a sister thing because I'm losing my ever loving mind over this. And it was so cool because they opened up their season, their freshman season in Florida at the UCF tournament. And so I got to go and be there with my parents and my younger brother. And it was like, I was like emotional. And then they played at Mary Nutter. And then my older sister was able to go to that one. And she sent me a video of them signing autographs. And I was like
Oh,
crying.
oh,
I know. I can't take it, but they're doing well. Like Avery's a lefty pitcher. She's getting her opportunities and just trying to kind of find her footing and make the most of them. Mikey's been starting at shortstop and in the lineup the whole time, so she kind of hit the ground running as a position player. But it's just been so fun. And then they keep playing people I know. Like I know the coaches, or I used to play with the coaches.
yeah.
So they played OU, and so they got to, see Rocha, which was so fun. And then last weekend they were at Oklahoma State, got to see Coach G, who Mikey hit a home run. I mean, it's not a home run because they literally got robbed, but
Yeah.
phenomenal catch. But I text Coach G, I said, your left fielder is on my hit list. Like, there's no way. So
I love that.
yeah.
Now
So
that's banter.
yeah.
That-
Yeah.
That is banter.
No, I think it's just been fun. They were really adamant about wanting their own journey from the get-go. Because we have different last names. And so it wasn't like a big old banner over their life, but people would
Yeah.
find out that they're my sister. But they just made their own way. They worked hard. I love the teammates they are. They're just like supportive, like good kids, and they work hard. And they know the game, which is they're like mentality wise, they're way better than I was, which is so fun.
Oh.
And watching them, they have like a presence on the field. And Mikey plays like me. She's smiley. So she's just like looks happy all the time. And then Avery as a pitcher, she's more stoic, but it's been so fun to see them.
You know what's so funny is a lot of times, I'm sure you guys have gotten this question many times as a, playing professionally, playing for Team USA. People ask, what would you tell your younger self? But you're kind of in a position where have you kind of shared any wisdom with them because they're kind of like a little younger you in their own manner. But what are some things that you've shared with them after everything that you've learned because they're kind of at the forefront of their collegiate career?
Yeah. I mean, over the years, like they were just so lucky. Like Halo, I don't know if you remember at Worlds in 16, my first year, like because Avery was a lefty and my mom took a picture of her, gets to come up to you and ask you like slapping questions. And it's like, okay, great. You're like 12 and you get to talk to like one of the greatest hitters in the world. Good for you, casual stuff. And so they've been really fortunate to just see some of the greats. Like, I mean, I played with Kelsey Stewart my whole career in college and pro. And like, so they've just been able to watch some of the greats play the whole time. So I haven't had to, and nobody wants to catch in my family. So, so I haven't had to like impart any of that wisdom. It's more like from the failure side of it, I think, is trying to help them to just take the pressure off. Like there doesn't have to be any pressure as my sister or just the pressure in general with the game, like just getting to remind them that they're so good and they're so fun to watch and they do a great job. And it's so early in their career still. Like for their first weekend, my older sister and I sent them cookies to their hotel room. I'm just like, oh, good luck, opening day. And I gave them a little bit of advice that day because on my first weekend, Bailey Castro, who was a year older than me at Florida, she came into Taylor Schwartz and I's room. She goes, how are we feeling? This is like morning of game 1 of freshman year. And we're like, we're a little nervous. And Bailey just goes, all right, here's what you're going to do. Turn up the music and put your uniform on. Once you put your uniform on, you're going to feel like $1 million. And we did. And she was so right. And so that's pretty much what I told my sisters. I was like, look, just it's just the beginning, you know, put your uniform on, you'll feel like $1 million and just go have fun. So it's more of that type of stuff than anything really like technical. I think having been through it, like you guys know, everybody and their brother wants to chirp at you and tell you, you know, how you can be better or what you did wrong or the expectations. And it's like, when you're in the middle of it, you just don't need that stuff. You just need people in your corner. So that's been the fun part, wearing my big sister hat.
Oh my gosh. That
That's so
just makes me
sweet.
it just makes me so happy. It just makes me so happy to watch them, and they're obviously crushing it. But I'd love to pick your brain a little bit, Obs, about you talked a little bit about pressure a second ago, and you were always someone that I mean, I looked at you literally the entire time when we were playing together because I had no choice, but it was like you were right there. But you always carried yourself in the highest pressure situations. I felt like you always handled yourself with such grace, and I never sensed any like anxiousness or nervousness in you despite how you were feeling that. And you had to handle really interesting pitchers in really high pressure situations throughout your entire career. Can you talk
Yeah.
about just like how?
Yeah.
Like just how? Like I just
How?
want to know how.
Well, I mean, you guys know, like, defense has always been my jam. Like, behind the plate is where I have always felt most confident, most myself. And then, so that always helped. I would say I definitely felt nerves more offensively, but defensively was like, this is the fun part, you know? And so, and I was also like raised just to, like, when pressure would come, my mom would be like, this is what we play for. Like, we don't play for the blowouts. We don't play for it to just coast. Like, we play for this intense moment, this fun part. And so I just grew up thinking, like, this is the good stuff. Like, this is what I want to be a part of. And so that mentality, like, I remember before our first national championship, like, looking at Taylor Schwartz at first base before the last out, like, smiling, like, we're going to do it, you know, and not feeling any weight there. And so I think I've just learned to lean into the fun of it, of like this is why I do this. And because I've seen it as fun and not necessarily pressure, it's been like, I can smile, it keeps me light, it keeps me focused too. Like, it's not like oh my gosh, so fun.
Yeah.
It like actually focuses me more, and I want to feel the energy of that. Like, I think it's the same thing at Worlds, in those games in 2018 against Japan when we went extra innings in the semifinals and extra innings in the gold medal game, and just feeling like this is it. Like, the buzz of that environment is like, let's go. And those were tight games. So yeah, I've just always looked at the pressure as it's not, I don't know, the pressure is a privilege thing isn't really what resonated with me. It's just like, this is what I'm here for. And that has allowed me to play free. And whenever I play free, I'm good. It's when I get all like knotted up that I'm no good. So
I love that.
yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
It's so good too, because I think you're unique in at least just, I mean, you've accomplished so much, but a lot of times you hear people talking about getting recruited or getting position on team. They're like, if you hit, you're in the lineup. Like, you got to hit. And you are not taking away from your offensive game, but you are the complete opposite in that your defensive game what was top of the top. So did you ever feel any sort of way about that, where there's so much emphasis on hitting, but you're truly a defensive specialist in the way you play defensively, but also the way you play defensively up in your brain, the way you use your brain. So I'd love to hear you speak about that, that difference in the type of player you are.
Yeah.
Or were. Oh my God, that past tense.
I know.
Whoa. So okay, keep going. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I've just always loved defense. I fell in love with the game through catching. Like, my mom threw me back there because the other kids started crying and I was the only kid she could force back there. So
I love
like,
that
she
story.
couldn't make some other, yeah, she couldn't, Denise, she couldn't throw some other kid back there who could get hurt. She's like, I can handle it with Aubree. So I was like 6 years old and could barely see anything, but I fell in love with the game through catching. And so that framed my whole perspective. Working with pitchers, calling games, like, the nuance of that part of the game, I loved. Like, I just ate it up. I think the hard part of that is so much of what I did was very intangible outside of throwing people out. Like,
Yeah.
none of, and like keeping the ball in front. There's not a whole lot that's like, wow, that's what you do for the game, you know, or like there's not like stat lines for that. So the hard part growing up, or not even growing up, because I just always kind of found my way into the bigger games in high school. Like, all right, sweet, I'm in the lineup, let's go. And I would find a way to get it done. It usually wasn't all that pretty, but I'd find a way to get it done. And then I got to college, and it kind of blew my mind that I wasn't actually a very complete player. And yeah, I know it sounds, I mean, I'm at Florida, like, oh, of course. And then I thought, like, Tim Walton, he's gonna like make me a great hitter. This will be fine. But what our lineup was that year, we had come in, and there was like just a huge turnover going into my freshman year. And so our lineup was not built to like insulate me, if that makes sense. You know, where what I brought defensively kind of made up for what I may have lacked offensively sometimes. And I mean, I was a string bean. Like, I was so weak when I got to college, like a twig. And so, so I was up against a lot. But I just kind of realized, and it was a hard realization, because I'm like, no, I know what I bring to a team. I know what I bring to the field. I know that it matters. And so it was through, honestly, Coach Walton was just really honest with me, and it was hard to hear as a freshman, but I'm so grateful for it, because I came home the summer after my freshman year and said, I'm never letting that happen again. Like, I will not let my offense keep me out of the game again. And I hit with my dad that whole summer. So I had to make adjustments. Like, I couldn't just be like, sweet, defense is my jam, let's go. I had to find a way in the lineup. And then I think also with time, people started to see me and the difference I made, and the difference, like the highest compliment a catcher can get is from pitchers, their parents, and umpires. Like, if a pitcher wants to throw to you, you're doing something right. If they don't, if they're kind of like, I don't care who catches me, it's like, all right, then you're not doing anything special. You're not making somebody feel comfortable or safe, or like you can make them better, or that you're in it with them. And I feel like that was always a strength of mine, is learning to get the best out of people, especially my pitchers. And that's a journey sometimes, like figuring that out, figuring out what makes them tick. But I had to shift a little bit. I couldn't just be catching focused. I did have to figure it out. And through that, I ended up like learning to enjoy hitting, which I know is going to boggle some people's brains, that I didn't like hitting. But I wasn't that good at it for a while. So it was like, I don't want to do this. But no, catching was my whole lens for the game. So
yeah. Do you feel like catching some of the best pitchers in the world made you a better hitter?
No.
Or do you feel like, I was about to say, or do you feel like you had to separate all of the analytical stuff of pitch calling and calling a game? Because I don't know if I don't know if all our bantees out here know this, but Aubree called all those games.
Yeah.
She was the pitch caller, the signal caller. She's QB1.
Thank you.
So,
wow.
like, yeah, you're QB1. So, like, how did you like separate that analytical process in the box versus like managing your pitchers? Because I like personally, I would be like,
that was me. Like, so I mean, when I tell you, like people ask me like, how can I get better at catching a curveball? How can I? And I'm like, you have to see spin. If you don't see spin, you're not going to be able to like cut the ball off and really stick it as a receiver. And so when I was younger, I caught so many pitchers. I was constantly catching people's bullpens, constantly catching their lessons. And so I think I just saw spin really, really well. And that was kind of a gift. But because I saw spin so well, I would be in the box and like curveball strike. Like, and it would drive me nuts, because I would like pick up on the spin, but it was to my detriment. And so I would go through like these cycles of like, just turn your brain off. Like, just see the ball. You just have to see the ball, and like to be aggressive. And sometimes I'd be like really good at that and it'd be fine. And other times I'd get really in my head. And then I had to kind of settle into like, everyone wants to hit well, duh. Like that's like the flashy stuff. We all love defense, but like everybody knows being a great hitter feels awesome. Yeah, it feels great.
Tinkers.
And like in college, I'd be in these hitting groups with like Lauren Hager, Bailey Catcher. Like these girls are hitting tanks, okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm like lucky if I'm getting warning track power here, okay? So for a while, I had to really find who I was as a hitter. Like, I'm not going to be Halo. I'm not going to be Sam. I'm like, who am I? What's my style? And then just like stay there. And Dobbs was actually really helpful with a lot of that in my pro career. And I do remember Coach Walton saying when I got drafted, senior year, he had made a comment like, "Oh, Aubree is one of those players like she's not going to hit her peak till she's 25." And I'm like 22 and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to be playing when I'm 25. Are you kidding me? That's so lame. But he was right. And I was playing when I was 25. So
Yeah.
like the maturity aspect of having the time to settle into the hitter that I was instead of trying to be like everybody else. And then being okay with this is the hitter I am. And this is what I need to do to help my team to contribute. But like, this is my bread and butter, talking about defense. And like, this is where most of my energy is going to be focused because that's where I bring the most value. Not to neglect my offense, but like, it is obvious to me and everybody around me that this is where I bring the most value. So like, I can't lose that in the process of trying to be something that I might not be.
That's so important.
That's beautiful.
It's so good because, what's crazy about it is you look at it, taking a step back and you think there's probably so many kids out there that want to catch like Aubree Munro. That you see at the Gentro catching camps, catching retreats, and they're all out there trying to catch like Aubree Munro. And I think that's what's really cool about it is you owned your business. You're like, I'm a throw from my knees. I'm gonna do that little spin move, stand up.
Spin move.
So swaggy.
Flashiest thing I ever did.
So swaggy.
The only swag in my game.
It was so
It's so
cool.
funny because like it's so smooth, and then anybody who has had the opportunity to hang out with Aubree off the field like has probably seen her trip more than once, like over her own feet. No, and I love that. But like you really owned your stuff, and that's you saw it physically, but even just hearing you talk about it, I think is just so cool because you owned it. And I know what's crazy is that you're such an elite catcher, like just so good. I think you behind the dish.
Thanks.
And you were a good hitter. Like you got the job done, but like that's how good of a catcher you were. So like I hope that talking about the maybe imbalance, like we were saying, like what you maybe lacked as an offensive player is like it probably looked imbalanced because of just how freaking good you were as a catcher.
Well, that and like I'm playing with some of the best.
Yeah.
So like,
my God.
Like the way I feel about catching, Chitty feels about hitting. So you're like,
period.
You're looking at that like, okay, like, and so it would go the same way for her. Like she doesn't need to try to be me when she's catching.
Totally.
Because what she loves is that piece, and like settling into, and which was really ended up being really cool for Chitty and I, like as we played together longer, like getting to kind of do that. Cause we would say that like she would talk to me about catching and we could help each other. And then I talked to her about hitting. And it was like, because we knew, okay, the thing that I love, we both do these things, but like you love this part and I love this part. Like, let's help each other. And it just created this really cool culture for us as catchers.
I can see it. I could picture it with my brain.
Right?
That's so awesome. I think, Aubree, I think you're touching on something really important, especially for young kids that are listening, is like when you were in this situation, Coach Walton was very honest with you. You could have easily compared yourself to hitters that you perceived as like were better than you and that let that crush your confidence, but you leaned into who you were and found your identity. Can you talk like what that mental process was like? And were there any steps that you would maybe share to young kids that are maybe going through the same thing? Like, I want to lean in. I want to be like, I want my identity to be known. I just don't know how.
Yeah. Well, it did crush me for a little while. So
I think that's human, right? Like
totally.
We all want to be perfect, but it's like, it's impossible, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would say something that a lot of kids probably don't know is like what they're really great at.
Mm.
And so it's hard to not compare yourself if you don't know what you're great at. And so, you know what I mean? Like, of course I'm going to
Yeah.
compare myself. If I don't have anything that I love about this, if I don't have anything that I know I bring to the table, because I could settle into, all right, I just struck out with bases loaded. That sucks. Like, no doubt. I'm mad. This is not what I wanted to do. I feel like I let the team down. Like, all those emotions are right there. But then I'm putting my gear on. I'm trying to flush it. I'm like, all right, well, then let me go contribute in the way that I actually feel the most confident in, and being able to kind of turn that over. That's like, I failed a lot offensively. I had some really special moments that I'm so grateful for, and like hard work paid off. Like, I didn't just kind of like whatever, to offense. It was
Totally.
like, no, I still have to, like, if Lauren Hager has like God-given talent and she has to work this hard to hit well, plus she's super strong and like she's got this, I do have to work harder to be at her, even close to her baseline. Like, that's just a reality. But like, it's not Lauren's fault. It's not my fault. It's just what we're working with. And so, but you have to know, like, it's hard to lean in and know who you are if you don't know what you like or what you're great at. Because it all feels mediocre if you're not. So you got to figure out what you love about it, what you bring to the table, and like own that part while you simultaneously work on the other part. Knowing that, like, because you got to find some joy too. So like, if I had crappy BP, all right, let me go do some throwdown so I can at least feel good before I leave.
Heck yeah.
Let me turn my swag up a little bit so that I can leave the field feeling good. But if you don't have anything like that, then you're like, okay, well, this is terrible.
God.
That's so good. That's
I
so
feel
good.
like that translates through your life too, right? Like, people can make fun of you for something, but you're like, I love this thing. So like it don't matter. But one thing I think that was so great about Halo's question, great question, by the way, Halo, is that I think right now, maybe we're seeing this kind of thing more than ever, is that had that conversation happened with someone at the cusp of their freshman year, they might have transferred.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought about it.
And I would love to hear that thought process, and then what kept you at Florida and the mindset that was behind it.
Yeah. Like when that was another thing, because when I told you guys about how I sent the cookies to my sisters.
Yeah.
In the note, and I opted for the nice one because I almost said, you cannot do worse than me my first weekend, so you'll be fine. But I was like, let's not even put it in their head. They'll be fine.
Amazing.
But yeah, my freshman year, I just struggled. I had come off of a third national championship for PGF. I was so comfortable with my travel ball team, like felt like went from feeling like top of my game and like, wait, now I'm going to Florida. Like, let's go, big dogs.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. And I got there, and our first weekend out, my whole class balled out, like triples, home runs. Everyone's like, like doing great. I'm like, sweet, when's my turn? Let's go. I'm just like so jazzed to get my opportunity. And I dropped pop-ups, like, easy pop-ups. And like, I was the kid growing up that like, if the ball went up in my area, people are like, oh, she's got it. Like, we don't have to watch, And so I was dropping pop-ups. I had more pass balls that first weekend than my whole 3 years before that. Like,
oh my gosh.
feeling terrible. I only got on because Jolene Henderson hit me in the leg. Like, it's the only way I got on base. And so then I thought, like, oh, okay, it's just the first weekend. It's fine. Nope, it extended.
Nope.
And I just like, it just was terrible. And meanwhile, my whole class is starting and they're having a ball. Like,
yeah.
So my freshman year was just really, really hard. And I really started to feel like I'd made a mistake. I came all the way across the country. I thought I was in way over my head. I was starting to feel super embarrassed because I'm like, great, all these people knew I was going to Florida and I'm not performing, So the expectations and just like, you're given a scholarship, you feel like you're letting those, like, that's an investment. I mean, that part wasn't ever lost on me as a student athlete. Like, I knew all my friends playing softball, like, had gotten scholarships. So it wasn't like rare, but I'm like, someone is investing in me and I'm not, there's no return right now. So I just struggled a lot. I definitely like if how I felt then was happening now, it would have been a mental health crisis, but we didn't really have
Mhm.
language for it back then. We weren't
Mhm.
really talking about it. And so for me, it was a lot of things that all kind of happened at once. I got really serious about my faith, so that was a big part of kind of pulling me out of that. And then I actually had a meeting with Coach Walton. I don't know if I think I've shared this before, but I had a meeting with him when things started to pick up. I started to kind of like settle in because I'd be fine in practice. Like my mom, he told my mom she's fine in practice because my mom's like
Yeah.
freaking out. And she's fine in practice. Like she's just in her head, because so I was just making all these uncharacteristic mistakes, trying to get myself like, don't think. And then I'm thinking about not thinking. And that's the dumbest thing in the world.
Tough.
And so
Tough.
it's the worst. And so I just struggled really, really bad that year. And I thought like the joke was on me, kind of like, wow, I thought I could go there and no, I can't. And so my mom had kind of voiced that, knowing that I just needed to feel like I wasn't stuck here. And so
Yeah.
she had asked me, like, hey, well, do you want to transfer? And I took a beat and was like, "Ooh." Like, one, I really don't want to learn a new school. I finally got this place down.
Yeah.
Two, just kind of like faith related. I had this real conviction that, okay, no, I'm supposed to be here. I don't really know why, because I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here, but I think I am. So that was kind of something that I can't really explain. And then I just through that process was able to start leaving a bad day at the field, whereas before it would lead to another bad day, a bad week, and then all of a sudden I look up a month later and I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny what we have language for now that we didn't have back then. I probably would have felt differently about it then. But we were winning. That was the other thing. My team was winning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, all right, well, I can't sit here and complain about this because we're winning. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I finally, Coach Walton he called me into his office like mid-season. Things had finally settled. I was starting to like be more myself in games. Like I wasn't playing awesome, but when I would get in, it'd be okay. And he goes, hey, what changed? And I looked this man dead in the face.
I'm scared.
And I go, I mean, no disrespect, coach, but I had to stop caring what you think of me.
Wow.
And yeah. And he kind of gave me a funny look. And he was like, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Which that made me grateful because he played he played at OU. He's a winner.
Yeah.
So he understood it from the competitive level. I'm like, yeah, I was putting too much pressure on myself because I was trying to be everything I thought you needed me to be. And I'm not there yet. So and I just
Wow.
saw a slow uptick. And the reality is though, guys, if I would have transferred, like I met Gordon the following fall.
Mm.
We won our first national championship the next year.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have left Florida, there's no chance that I am making Team USA. Like, so when I think about all that, it's like really wild to me to think about like I was this close because it was really freaking hard.
Man.
And I was lost and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, this is terrible. And then like I just kind of stayed the course. So I mean, I'm not anti-portal, I want to
Of course.
I loved my experience and I want everybody to have like to go somewhere and have an experience like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not anti-portal for that reason, but I'm like, dude, you guys, what's on the other side of this? Like maybe if you stick it out,
Yeah.
who knows? And I mean, I can't. They're the only ones who can kind of make that decision. But
Right.
yeah, it crossed my mind though, which is scary.
Man.
Yeah, but like you said, like look at what happened because you stuck it out, because you fought, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Halo and I just sit here most of the time like,
That's
holy
just-
buckets.
That's just, it's just so wild to think about because I personally can't imagine you anywhere else.
Mhm.
I can't imagine you not being on the Olympic team. I can't I
Mhm.
cannot imagine it. So it's just such a cool story and such an inspiration to be
is.
like, no,
Well,
you can do hard things. Like you
Oh,
can
yeah.
you can stick stuff out. Like it's not always
Mhm.
sunshine and rainbows,
It's not.
Mhm.
you know? It's not. This game
not.
is hard.
It's super hard. And like
Man.
what's wild to me is like when you think about it, I mean, not to get like too in the nitty-gritty, but like we wouldn't be friends.
Oh
No,
no.
I mean, Halo, I would have played
No.
against you for a year. That would have been
Yeah.
freshman year, and like,
Oh.
see you later, and never would have met you. You would have just been like Halo at Alabama. But we're like buds now. We
Yeah.
were road dogs.
We're road dogs. Oh man, that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah,
It's just
I know.
wild, but that's so
I know it.
awesome. Well, as we wrap up, Bob, thanks for spending some time with us here.
Yeah.
I would love to, if you could just leave us with like one piece of wisdom for the youth of the Banties.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What would it be?
Not that you haven't already dropped
No,
buckets, but just
I was
one
about to say.
specific thing.
Yeah, one specific thing.
Yeah.
you know, my mind goes to our Olympic experience
Mm.
and just like I've told a lot of people about this because I've taken some time to like really think through that whole experience because people ask and they're expecting an answer like, oh, that's the best, and you're like,
Oh.
it was a dream come true because I dreamed of playing in the Olympics, but it was nothing like I dreamed because of COVID and all the things, you know. It was just like our families couldn't be there, all those layers, you know. But what I learned through that process really was how to hold like both. And I think that's the sooner we can learn to hold both, I think that would help us kind of like when you think of the hard things, like we just said, like you can do hard things, you can like rally, you can get through it, but you can't do that if you can't hold both. If you can't hold the hard simultaneously with all the good things that you love about the game. And I learned that in our Olympic experience because it sucked to not win.
Yeah.
Like barf. I hated it.
It was literal garbage.
Yeah. I mean, we just cried. It was terrible.
That's all we did. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, like there are so many moments from that experience that I cherish. Even in the aftermath, like in the middle of the crying part, that I cherish, you know? Like our experience, even though it wasn't anything like I thought it would be, like doing it with you guys, there are things that I cherish that like marked my life. And so I just would, I guess, encourage people that it doesn't have to be either or, that we can carry both, like the excitement and the joy of the game, and like knowing that there's failure, and like sometimes we just straight up lose a game that maybe we should have won or we could have won. And we have to learn to hold both. Like Janie used to talk about that, and then our Olympic experience just like really hammered it in to me. To just like, because how do you keep playing this game when you don't, like, it's just hard. The game is hard. Like sometimes we deal with difficult people and it's hard, you know, sometimes, but like if you just keep playing, you do it because you love it.
Yeah.
So how do we hold in the midst of the struggle the things that we love about it? Because it's worth it if you can get through it, you know. And it's, I don't know. So I just think my mind went there first. There's a gazillion things. I also would say, Sam, I think I was with you at that HVP when that kid asked, like, what's advice from your coach that stuck with you? And instantly, don't confuse effort with results. Like,
that was good.
My high school coach, or one of my travel coaches used to say that, and I was at the Olympics thinking, don't confuse effort with results.
Amazing.
Like, yeah.
So simple. So true.
So something a little feely, but also more practical.
I love that. I love
Thanks.
that.
Yeah. Honestly, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for sharing your story, your wisdom, your little tidbits of things that you learned along the way. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you think back, you know, who are some of your favorite people that you've gotten to play with? And Aubree Munro is always going to be on my list. So,
Gosh, you guys are making me cry.
Up there.
I miss you guys so much.
We miss you, but
miss you so much.
We appreciate you getting on. We love that the Banties got to get to know you a little bit more. If you haven't caught on, the Banties is what we're calling our listeners.
I picked up on that.
Okay,
cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Our
just
groupies.
making sure.
It's fantastic.
So everybody deserves to know the Aubree Munro. So thanks for listening, everybody. Aubree, keep doing you, man.
Thanks, Fran.
Thanks,
we love you.
Love you guys.
Love you so much.
Team USA has brought me opportunities that I never thought would happen before. and super humbled to be able to represent my country.
There's so much talent in the United States playing softball right now, and we want to see the game continue to grow and prosper and develop.
I want to develop not just men, but women's softball as well.
I want to see more girls like me playing this sport.
I just hope one day that I can be somewhat mentioned, like a Natasha Watley, to help this game.
I just remember like watching everyone like in the Olympics, like, and you guys just representing this country. And for me playing USA softball, like I just want to do the same.